Casa Camigo, 18 to 1. Grace's Secret. Caswara is 25s. Chittadoro is also 25 to 1. Trafalgar Girl, 33s. And Polar Light is indeed the outsider at 100 to 1. So it is the ARC runner-up team and Group 1 winning team on the weekend, though. We'll come back to that a bit later on, of James Doyle and William Haggas teaming up with Crystal Spirit, the 11 to 8 favourite for this race. A daughter of Nathaniel. She's run a few decent races this season, but she remains a maiden. So is she the right price for this race at 11 to 8?
Does seem a bit on the short side, but looking at it, this is not a strong race at all. This has definitely weakened the race at Chelmsford last time. That was over a 1 mile 5.5. Didn't really get the clearest of runs. The winner, Swordbill, has been on a bit of a roll this late summer and has been second again since then. That was off the back of a 4-month break for Crystal Spirit since a run at Redcar in May. Disappointing that occasion, went off similar sort of price to we have this evening. And also was favourite back at Yarmouth. So clearly since going handicapping, Crystal Spirit should have been doing better than the handicap mark suggests. But this is up against plenty of pretty much exposed horses. I know it's a 3-year-old only event, but this was only at the half dozen runs. There's been enough hope in a few of the runs to suggest that there could still be something more to come.
Yeah, I think that is the hope, that given the profile of this horse, you would expect that there's still a little bit more to come from Crystal Spirit than we've seen so far. His official rating is 63, and you would hope that given his pedigree, there's a bit of scope to improve upon that. So hopefully that... The run at Chelmsford, I don't think he got the clearest of runs on that occasion.
Yeah.
We just had to wait a fraction longer before getting clear sailing.
And when you get in a horse like this, in this sort of race where they're not going to be having great turn of foot, once you get stopped a little bit, it's not as if you can get back into your rhythm straight away. Yeah. So there could be more to come for Crystal Spirit, and there may not need to be that much more to come looking at the rivals here. Yeah,
slight drop back in trip for the Crystal Spirit, but I don't think that'll be a problem, seeing that he'd run a similar sort of race over 10 furlongs at Yarmouth and Redcar prior to that. Let's look at a couple of horses closer in the market to Crystal Spirit, and Blue Reflection is the next one we'll probably talk about, for James Fanshawe and Danny Muscat, this daughter of Dan Silly. She's had a few goes on the all-weather. It's provided one decent effort at Newcastle. What did you make of the last run at Newcastle, though, when she started favourite?
Yeah, that certainly wasn't a step forward at all. Bit keen in the early stages, just didn't build on... I thought the Newcastle run back in July was an okay effort behind Mr. Ambassador and Formula One, and it didn't really build on that at Beverley, and I thought, if not a backward step, but just more of a sideways step again at Newcastle last time. Now, the handicapper has given us a bit of a chance, because dropped £3 from Beverley to Newcastle and dropped another 4, so quickly gets into a 0 to 65 contest. You feel that there may be more to come, but I don't know if she's showing all of her ability at the moment.
Yeah, she's also a maiden, like the favourite, which lends itself to some doubts about whether or not Blue Reflection is going forward. I mean, it could be a case against Crystal Spirit. Is he also going forward?
Well, that's the thing. But you mentioned it's not far away from being a maiden handicap. There's very little winning form here on offer, and you're looking at the trainer of Crystal Spirit as well. People are looking at an angle for a race like this, and there just may be more to come given the prices he's been going off on a few occasions so far, and the run at Chelmsford last time wasn't devoid of hope.
No, Kernigan for Luca Kumani and Jamie Spencer is next in the market. Ran well at Chelmsford a couple of starts ago, wasn't beaten that far by Arteman and Construct. After that, though, the next run at Chelmsford last month was a straight, raced a bit keen and comfortably beaten.
Yeah, and was noticeably weak in the market for that race as well. They tried cheek pieces again on that occasion, but they haven't worked. Going with them again. Just don't know where we are with Koenig at the moment, because before that, I thought the Chelmsford run 2 starts ago behind Artemon, who's no case stay of Michael Bells. I thought that was something to build on, but certainly didn't build on that last time up. Was a bit keen, as you mentioned. The drop back in trip, in theory, should help. I'm just not quite sure where we are with this horse.
Hackbridge, I thought, was an interesting runner. Managed to win at Lingfield at obviously a lower level, and then went to Kempton last time out. Obviously, that was just a week ago. The saddle slipped which perhaps lends itself to a little bit of an excuse for Hackbridge, but it was still a fair effort in finishing fourth behind this time last year.
It was, and given the way this horse has been improving since the stamina has been drawn out, 1.25 mile win at Lingfield a month ago, then a decent effort to win fourth last week over 1.3 miles, so the step up to 1.4 miles is a natural progression tonight. And they've been solid runs, and in the context of a race like this, at least Hackbridge was a previous winner. So I think that he's a solid enough each way better in a race like this. You feel the evidence of your eyes last two runs. There should be more to come at this trip, 1.5 miles. And that wasn't a bad little run. It was the same grade as this, the run last week at Kempton. But there were a few of those going into that form and into that race with a little bit of form. So there may well be more to come from Hackbridge.
Yeah, I definitely. He's more of a player than perhaps some of the others we mentioned at a shorter price.
Yeah, drawn 11, a little bit high, but at the price you can't have everything. So I think he's could be a bit of each way value in the race.
All right. Well, what about a horse who is a winner? A couple of wins this season. Drawn in a decent stall in 3. It's got a good young apprentice aboard in Scott McCullough. Macho Mover, who won a couple of times at Windsor and Chepstow. He's had 3 runs on the all-weather, so those haven't provided a great deal of success. So that's a question mark against him, but quite a lot else about Macho Mover is encouraging, surely.
Yeah, he's been in good heart on varying turf runs of late. He'd be suited by a good pace here in this race, which, looking at the previous running styles, there's a bit of hope in there from the top one, Quaswara, and number 11, Arlecchino's Arc. So he's got that bit of winning form as well from early in the season, back in the summer, Macho Mover. Just got to prove itself on turf, on the all-weather rather. That's the main sort of worry about Macho Mover.
What have you made of Scott McCullough so far?
Very impressed. Saw him win at Epsom a couple of months ago when I was there on a Thursday night during Glorious Goodwood week. And he rode a very good race in the apprentice race then, because I think he wanted to make the running on the horse, but when he realised the one in front wasn't going to let him do so, he didn't get in a pace battle at all. He just sat back, rode a cool race, and he's doing okay.
That's exactly, for what it's worth. What I've noticed about him so far is that his judgment of pace seems pretty impressive for a young rider.
Well bred for the game as well. His dad's good jockey in Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's taken a few good lessons off the old man, and it's definitely paying off. He looks very talented, and Mick Shannon giving him plenty of opportunities, and he's got a decent one here on Macho Mover. What else do we want to talk about? Let's mention Kaswara at the top. Ram Havlin looking for a double. Dennis Quinn, the trainer of this daughter of Naef, not really progressing, but though is a winner this season. Won at Chepstow. That was for Ed Dunlop back in May.
Yeah, changed hands since then. The cheek pieces have been retained after being worn for the first time at Chelmsford last time. Possibility to go from the front that last run. Should appreciate the drop in class. That was a 0-75 last time, and before that the Sandown race was an okay effort as well. So there's bits of form for Quaswara. Dennis Quinn doesn't have many horses these days, but he's doing okay for himself.
Okay, what else do you want to mention here?
As I mentioned, Casacamiga hasn't beaten a horse home in 2 starts in 2018, but lightly raced, just the 4 goes, and Oisin Murphy's just an interesting booking on that one.
You've touched on Arlecchino's Arc a couple of times, and of course this horse finished 4th. Tried to force the pace last time out at Kempton, and that was from a wide draw, so it was probably slightly better run than the final finishing position suggests.
Yeah, and also given the fact that the first 2 from that race have won since, Dame Nelly and Looking for Carl, so that form is actually much stronger than it looked for a 0-60 at the time. It's been well franked. That was the first go, I think. They used to be a hold-up horse, so for a fairer draw, I'd expect they may well go from the front again with Arlecchino's Arc.
Switching the visors on from the cheek pieces that he wore last time out, so a couple of interesting angles for Arlecchino's Arc. Anything else that you want to mention before the Arc?
Just looking down a few of them. Grace's Secret we haven't mentioned yet. Hasn't totally convinced.
In a handicap for the first time.
Yeah, hasn't totally convinced. 2 goes at 1.25 miles. So the trip is a concern for Grace's Secret. Polar Light has been regressive and needs to recapture best. Trafalgar Girl hasn't offered much in 4 starts. And mentioned Citadora there. Well, looks harshly weighted on the evidence so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I like Macho Mover. What about you?
I think Hackbridge each way a little second. Just repeat or even build on that run last week could be a bit of an each-way player.
We've nailed it. We've nailed the each-way steal here. Here's Mark with a call of the 7:15.
Move forward. They're in the gate. And they're off. They race over 1.5 miles in this 3-year-old handicap, and Alicino's Arc, with the visor on for the first time, brakes alertly and takes the early lead. Now Hackbridge will move around the outside, and from a wide draw, Polar Light is also prominent. Dropping out the back of the field early is Trafalgar Girl together with Chittadoro. So they come up with a circuit ahead of them, and it's Polar Light now in the hands of Dougie Costello, who are going to take them into the turn. The free-going Hackbridge against the inside rail in second, Kaswara in third, Alicino's Arc now is in fourth. Crystal Spirit, the favourite, is in fifth place, with Conagin making a 3-wide sweeping move around the outside. Macho Mover in the black colours is next, followed by Grace's Secret, and also now moving forward but 3 deep is Chittadoro as they head inside the final mile. Blue Reflection only has 2 behind early. Casa Comijo is last but 1, and Trafalgar Girl is held up at the back of the field. They head down the back straight, and now it is Kaswara who has taken the lead, and Kaswara goes on to Polar Light, now racing in second. There's already a break of 2.5 lengths. Opening up to the third, who is Hackbridge, and in fourth is Conagin. Alicino's Arc is in fifth position, with Chittadoro on the outside in sixth. Crystal Spirit is next in the field. He's now racing a good 7 lengths off the leader, who is Kaswara, as they go towards the end of the back straight. And Robert Havlin and Kaswara have a clear advantage as they take that far turn. To in second place Polar Light, and all of a sudden now the field are getting well and truly strung out as they go into that turn. The one who is making a sweeping move now is Trafalgar Girl. She was last going into the back straight, but now 4 deep. She's going right around the outside of horses and pressing for third place. It's Kaswara who opens up a lead of over 4 lengths to Polar Light now in second. Hackbridge made the turn in third, followed then by Conagin and Alicino's Arc. Towards the outside, Trafalgar Girl. Now Crystal Spirit is coming under an all-out drive from James Doyle and running out of time. Trying to stay on now is Grace's Secret. They're racing with 1.5 furlongs ahead of them, and it is Kaswara who still has the lead. Alicino's Arc is staying on from a long way back. Blue Reflection, and Blue Reflection now burst through. Conagin was squeezed for room inside the final furlong and balked, but it is now Blue Reflection. Blue Reflection is out in front, goes on by 3 parts of a length. Blue Reflection to win. Alicino's Arc was in second, tight for third. Crystal Spirit got going, but very late, and then towards the inside, Kaswara.
Blue Reflection wins at 8-1 for James Fanshawe and Danny Muscat. A race of continually changing fortunes sees Alicino's Arc in second, Crystal Spirit back in third. Well, the lead changed hands, then Kaswara kicked on, stretched them all out, and then it looked as if one, then another, with a winning run, and in the end it was Blue Reflection. This is the moment where Kaswara is about 3 or 4 lengths clear, but you can see Rab Havlin beginning to paddle.
Yeah, he played his hand earlier. Kaswara went for home early, well, leaving the back straight, and he's paddling in the closing stages and has been run out of the frame altogether. Even Crystal Spirit getting up on the outside for third place, but Blue Reflection, disappointing last couple of runs, dropped 7 pounds in the weight for those 2 races, so gets into this easier grade and nicely settled. I think Danny Muscat, after the last one, are probably the most important thing. They just wanted to get the horse settled and relaxed, and it paid dividends tonight. There's been an okay pace on a couple of them. Have gone up from the front. Polar Light was one of the first ones. Hackbridge, much more prominently ridden than the last couple of weeks, and was a little bit keen as a result on the inside.
Yeah, at this stage you can see Crystal Spirit, the favourite, tucked in at about 5th, one off the rail. Blue Reflection is at the back of the field. Danny Muscat just trying to get Blue Reflection to drop her head. She's not entirely settled at this point.
No, but she's got a bit of cover, and that's helped her anyway. And there's been an injection of pace in the race down the far side, so that will have helped her as well. And she's done it nicely in the end, and threatened a victory back in the summer at Newcastle. Hasn't built on that, but it's worked well for her tonight. And for the owners who have the stud, they'd be pleased to get the filly with a win under her belt.
This is the point where Rab Havlin goes on Kaswara. Hackbridge in the green had led, and then was taken over by Polar Light, number 10, who's now in second. Kernaghan is back in 4th at this position. I thought Alicino's Arc ran really well, had every chance, just couldn't quite muster the finishing effort of the winner.
Yeah.
But that was a good effort today.
It was, and that adds more to that at race here last month, where the first two have won since, and Arlecchino Zark, who was, I think, fourth on that occasion, that's no run well in defeat. So
Yeah.
for a low grade 0 to 60 on the all-weather, that's actually worked out pretty well, that one has. And Arlecchino Zark, I'm sure they can find a little race during the winter with that one.
What about the horse who makes a bit of ground in the grey Master Craftsman daughter, Grace's Secret? You can see in about 8th or 9th position now with Macho Mover down on the inside. Thought made a nice forward effort, this horse, who is pretty unexposed at this 1.5-mile trip, Grace's Secret, but came there with an interesting looking run and didn't quite see it through. Definitely one I want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it needs to be dropped in trip. I think they've had a couple of goes at 1 mile and 2 and hasn't totally convinced of that trip, so they've gone to 1 mile and 4. This hasn't worked at all, but back to 1 mile and 2, maybe 1 mile and 1. But had plenty of chances. Now, the favourite Crystal Spirit looked very one-paced and made the frame, which didn't look likely most of the way up the home straight, but only nicked third right on the line. Kaswara has done his running, or her running rather, and is folding up in the closing stages. Amongst those chasers, Macho Mover running on and grabbing 5th place, and Kernaghan didn't get the clearest of runs, but was probably in trouble at the time anyway.
Yeah. And looking at the head-on, no real hard luck stories there. Arlecchino Zark just needed a bit of a gap, but had enough time, did pick up Kaswara. Macho Mover, probably that's as good as he is.
At least it's something on the all-weather, because he hasn't shown, he's been better, his 2 wins have been on turf, so at least on the all-weather it's not too bad a run under Scott McCullough there tonight, and gave the impression as well maybe a step up to 1 mile 5, mile 6 might see a little bit more, he got a bit more improvement from that one.
What did you think about Crystal Spirit? Try going back up in trip again, given the way he finished the race?
They probably will do, but he just looks pretty ordinary, and I know it's not quite the same spelling, but the old Crystal Spirit from many years ago, he's not going to be running in Grand Nationals this course, I don't think, in races like that.
Or Paul Mellencamp, wasn't it?
He was, yes.
That's right. A winning tip for Tony Calvin, Blue Reflection. He's nailed it. Blue Reflection coming home under Danny Muscat for James Fanshawe. And there is the winner in the winner's enclosure. We've seen the SP 8-1 for Blue Reflection for Danny Muscat, James Fanshawe, and the Merry Fox Stakes.